going on? I want to talk to you about my prized Kemper Profiler, the toaster model. If you're not familiar, that is the one that looks like this. This was my prized possession for so long. I love this thing. It's been such a good tool for me, but if I'm honest, I haven't been using it at all for a few years now.
Luke, I am your father.
Gosh, I just love the look of it. It's like a toaster from the Jetsons, which I think probably dates me. But aside from it looking cool, it also sounds awesome. It's like having every amp I could ever dream of locked into one box, and I can just pull them up whenever I want. It's so great. Does it sound better than a tube amp? I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think most people don't know how to mic up a tube amp to save their lives. Can tube amps sound better? Probably. They're more rewarding in the room. I'll give them that for sure. But like John Mayer took one of these on tour. John Mayer is tone. Case closed. But while I do love this thing, I think I might sell it. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but for me, I'm just not using this thing anymore because amp sims have gotten so good. To make a long story short, I bought a couple Neural DSP plugins and I've been using them on everything. For me, that's mixing. I don't produce bands, I don't play live anymore. I just mix and master for bands. This thing is a beast for that. I can technically reamp guitar tones with this, but it takes a long time and I can be a little bit lazy. Fast forward to using an amp sim, it takes seconds. I can dial in a tone just right then and there in context while I'm listening to the song with zero setup. That works for me. Now, does the Kemper sound better than an amp sim? No. I don't think it does. In fact, I think that the Kemper is an amp sim. Isn't it kind of the same thing? It's computer chips making things that sound like guitar amps. They both sound really, really good. It's just that the workflow of an amp sim works way better for me. Whereas only a few years ago, I was probably recommending bands to buy something like a Kemper because it just gave them so many good guitar tones that they could record in their bedroom if they wanted to. Now amp sims have removed that layer even further. I would say most people would be a lot happier to spend like $150 on an amp sim rather than thousands of dollars on something like a Kemper. Of course, if you're playing live, something like a Kemper makes a ton of sense. They'll give you really good sound that you can just XLR right to front of house, no speaker volume on stage. I loved touring with this. This was my main rig with my band of Rascals for years and years. And I just had a little Pelican with this in it, my pedal board, a patch cable, everything I needed for a gig other than a guitar, and one Pelican, and I could fly anywhere with that and be ready to go. It was so awesome. I really loved having consistent tones, and I could send just a line out to my own in-ears for my own monitoring as well. It was a total beast in that setting. But because the only thing I use an amp for these days is just reamping guitar tones and mixing, it's just not the right tool for the job anymore. So essentially I have something like a $2,000 piece of gear sitting on a stool beside me doing nothing all of the time. Now, why do I still have it? I like to have it because if I want to jam with a friend or the band somehow did have a gig that came back, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it did, I could play it. So, well, I could have any amp to do that job. This amp is the one I have, and it does have all of my presets from my band's days. Should I sell it? Yeah, absolutely. I should definitely sell this thing. It is worth way too much money to just be sitting doing nothing. It's just so cool and green. So is it worth owning in 2023? I think that does depend on if you are gigging or not. If you're gigging, hell yeah, Kemper's a great amp. But there's also things like the Quad Cortex and the AmpFX, both also awesome, both sound incredible. The Quad Cortex, I know, for example, has some other advantages like being able to dial in your tone with like a mobile app or something like that. And the capturing software sounds really cool as well. And plus the form factor of these newer ones, including the Kemper Stage, is like a pedal board, which pretty darn cool. There's obviously risks having your entire rig at the front of the stage where beer could get spilt on it or something, but having experience as a touring musician, being able to put your whole rig in a backpack and get on a plane is kind of invaluable. I think a lot of bands that haven't toured extensively don't factor in how expensive it is to ship their gear around the world, so something even smaller than this is crazy cool. I know Kemper also has this available as a rack, which in hindsight I probably should have gone for a rack that's even more portable, but at the time I liked the look of this, so I went for it. So to sum it up, I think I would recommend something like the Kemper for touring musicians who need to have really great dependable amp tones on the road, and also for, you know, studio owners that bring bands in, not like me, because I just mix, so it's not really a lot of use to me, but being able to just plug any guitarist into this thing and just cycle through amps and audition really quick, so insanely fun. But if your studio is more modern and minimalist, a Kemper is probably totally overkill, where you could just get really great results by recording a clean DI and going into an amp sim these days. Make no mistake, there are huge songs that have used amp sims for their guitar tone. So if sound quality is not really an issue anymore, I think the most important thing is workflow. And while the Kemper is great at that, I do think from what I've seen of like the Neural Quad Cortex, for example, it is being beat out by that. But since I already own this and it sounds amazing, I'm just gonna keep this one. In conclusion, I think we can just be happy that it's never been easier to have great guitar tone. There's so many good options. The fact that you can spend a couple $100 on a plugin and get professional results is just totally bonkers. And with my current situation, I just don't think I'll be buying any amps at all. It is a great piece of gear, and for the right person, like a professional touring musician, it's totally an unbelievable and possibly unbeatable tool. Given my needs when I bought this, it was totally worth the price. But now, I think for most modern musicians, when it comes to recording, this is totally overkill. That's my take for now at the start of 2023. Let me know in the comments if you are a tube amp guy, a modeler hardware guy like this, or if you're even running amp sims live. I would love to know if people have started doing that. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click subscribe. That helps me a lot. And if you want a free one-on-one coaching call to help you level up your recording skills, check out the link below. I've got a link down there that'll get you a free coaching call with the Self-Recording Band Academy. It's free. Why not? If you want to go deeper down the guitar tone rabbit hole, check out this video.